If I had a face cam right now, this is what you guys would see. Admitting that you still play and enjoy Call of Duty nowadays is like admitting that you enjoy it when you're taking a dump and the toilet water splashes back up and hits you in the butt. I will admit that one of those two statements applies to me. I'm not going to share which one. I've always fallen victim to the COD cycle. I play the new release every year, and I have since COD 4. Honestly, though, lately it just feels kind of shameful to even recognize that fact. Things have been kind of rocky the past few years of releases, but within the past month especially, things have gotten exponentially worse for the state of Call of Duty. The game is completely overrun with cheating and hacking with no working anti-cheat in sight. It's pumped chock full of microtransactions at every turn. There's an overwhelming amount of bugs and game crashes, and to top it all off, a fat serving of AI doo-doo and lack of developer communication and support. Most recently, Black Ops 6 introduced a new limited time in-the-game event for Squid Games. First red flag, that show is ass. With this new event, we got new game modes for multiplayer and zombies, as well as a bunch of new rewards, most of which are paid in the form of an event pass that includes a $10 premium tier, because we could all use yet another form of in-game purchases alongside the already existing $10 seasonal battle pass and the $30 seasonal black cell, plus bundles that cost a minimum of $20. Oh, and you have to have paid $70 to even play the game in the first place. And don't forget about the pay-to-win audio package. I mean, seriously, what the f***? You want to know what's even more sickening too? In order to unlock all of the event content, you have to pay $87 more than the game itself. I could literally buy freaking Captain America's shield for that, bro. I think we can all recognize what they're trying to do here though. The same thing that every developer and company has tried to do since 2017. You want to know what was released in 2017? Fortnite Battle Royale. It seems like since the success of Fortnite and its ability to remain steadily profitable for the past 7 years, it's hard for video games to not try and adopt the same identity and tactics. And I get it to some degree. You see the gaming and pop culture juggernaut that became a Fortnite, and you want the same for your own game. But if I wanted to play Fortnite, I'd play fucking Fortnite. Not to mention the fact that these games are often not free to play, and in that way they shouldn't be trying to implement the same methods of profit that free to play games are. Now, like I mentioned, Call of Duty is certainly not the first to capitalize off of Fortnite's business model. However, and do correct me if I'm wrong, I do believe that they are the first to try and mimic Fortnite's whole battle pass within a battle pass bullshit. I honestly think we're kind of past the point of no return now though on that front. Give it another year and COD's going to be a mess of IPs and collabs just like Fortnite. I mean, it's already well on its way. Not only is the introduction of this new event coming off as pretty scummy and just out of touch in general, but there's also a whole host of issues weaved throughout it too. Like the finishing move that you get from the premium track doesn't even kill enemies. You also might have noticed that they decided to just sneak the event pass right between the lobby and weapons tab, so you're forced to pass by it. And apparently this has been making it so that some players will accidentally switch to one of the skins included in the event pass without even realizing it until they're in game due to, switching through the tabs too quickly. I don't know if I believe that part is necessarily on purpose, but I do know that it was absolutely carefully planned when it comes to putting the event pass tab where it's at. And that's also not the only tab in the menu for the Squid Games event. It's also included in the usual event tab too, and it literally takes you to the same event pass. So like what was the reason to include it a second time in literally the same section of the UI? I don't know. Whatever happened to only having to purchase DLCs and being able to earn literally any content the game offered by just playing, bro? Like, I completely understand from a business standpoint wanting to include microtransactions in your game to make more profit, but past games have proved that they can do exactly that by continuing to offer players a way to earn any of the content that you offer in your game for free by just playing the game and dedicating your time, while also offering the opportunity for players to purchase COD points and in turn purchase supply drops. I will note too that more to the point of just how messy this event's update was, I've been seeing a ton of people whose games are crashing even more so than before. Oh, and apparently the new mode is broken too. I'm sure there's more to get into regarding this Squirrel Games update, but with all that said, as you can probably imagine, Activision is rightfully catching a ton of flack for lacking the integrity to focus on the state of the game rather than trying to cram more microtransactions down players' throats. It's really just so out of touch much. And honestly, it really is just insult to injury, in my opinion. Like, oh, I know our game is just a cesspool of wall hacks and client issues, but don't look at that. Look over here at our freaking $87 value event pass. You think that they would be more akin to catering to the people that actually play their game and make them profitable by just fixing their game? I'm not a game dev. I know there's not always a simple answer to things, but there are so many examples of proper communication and support from dev to player from so many studios. I think at the very least, all we deserve is transparency, because we're not stupid. It's not hard to see, even as a casual player, the current state of Call of Duty. Both ranked and just regular pubs are absolutely infested with hackers. Like in Warzone, there's apparently players selling modded perks. Like, how on earth is that just happening? Tons of players, including myself, are experiencing frequent client-side issues like game crashes or lag spikes, regardless of a player's hardware capabilities. All of this is going on while Activision and developers just stay silent, offering nothing more than vague promises and no tangible solutions. And even when they do speak up, it's about extremely unimportant issues like the Brightmare finishing move shot preview showing a different animation than in-game. Don't get me wrong, this is definitely an issue and it should be fixed, but there are far more important issues that should be addressed. Like how when you use the Brightmare finisher that they're talking about, the enemy turns invisible for the rest of the game. No, I'm not kidding. That's not even close to all though. For the holidays, Treyarch dropped the Archie's Festival Frenzy event, and within literal minutes of it dropping, there were players that were logging in to find that they had already been awarded upwards of like 40,000 Archies and had all of the event rewards completed. Now, Treyarch did address the issue by automatically gifting all players all of the included rewards at the end of the event, so the event was basically just a useless steaming pile of Activision doo-doo. I mean, at least we got a bunch of free rewards though, I guess. It does make me wonder though, why are they not able to act this quickly and accordingly when it comes to everything else in the game? Activision and even dev teams like Treyarch and Raven, who are sort of at the helm right now, fail to properly commit to fixing things that they say they will. Like they said that they addressed a bug in Zombies where vermin were hitting twice with one hit, but players are still experiencing that issue. So now they state that the patch notes were wrong and that this bug wasn't actually fixed, but that's not even the worst part. Get this. They continued on by saying that a fix for it will come with Season 2. That's 3 weeks from now. You have to wait another 3 whole weeks just for them to fix something so incredibly simple but so devastating to Zombies runs. They seem so adamant on refusing to provide server updates, anti-cheat fixes, weapon balancing, and an array of other huge issues. Call of Duty issued a Ricochet anti-cheat update recently, sort of detailing some of the improvements that at least attempted to combat cheating, like increased ban frequency and expanded investigations. This was released on the 16th of last month, and from what I can tell, cheating is still just about as much of an issue as it was before. And then there's the AI. Now, Activision hasn't officially acknowledged the use, but the indications make it pretty freaking hard to deny. Things like loading screens and other visual assets like prestige emblems and things like that are some of the more obvious stuff, but there's also some evidence that they're making use of, or at least planning to make use of, artificial intelligence when it comes to things like dialogue too. There have been several Zombies voice actors, for example, who've completely pulled out due to that's what she said. Due to lack of AI protections in their contracts. It's clear that the use of AI to generate in-game assets and content is obviously an effort to reduce overall costs, but it comes at the expense of creative integrity of hardworking employees, and that's pretty clear when we have shit like this in the game. I understand we're sort of past the point of no return here when it comes to AI. It's honestly sort of adapt or die at this point, and I understand from a business perspective, tactfully integrating the use of AI in order to supplement the work of an employee. For example, brainstorming in a creative process, analyzing data, figuring out what Marge Simpson might look like if she was made out of Texas toast, but not just completely abandoning the creative process altogether and compromising quality control in the pursuit of efficiency and cost reduction. Now, as much as the devs are certainly to blame as well, there's absolutely no question that Activision honestly treats them and all of their employees like dogs and works them to the bone to push out some half-baked game each year just so they can make more money and satisfy their poor little shareholders. Time and time again, Call of Duty holds this idea of a well-rounded, near-perfect experience just out of arm's reach enough for us to keep buying the new annual release in hopes of improvement. They'll remove critical features like map voting or minimap red dots and then dangle them like a carrot on a stick in the form of next year's release. And it works. Somehow it fucking works. Take last year for instance, when they completely nostalgia baited us veteran COD players by remastering all 16 maps from 2000 2009's Modern Warfare 2. Granted, Modern Warfare 3 was honestly a great game and had phenomenal post-launch support, but the intention was still there. They try to make their games just mediocre enough, dressed up with all these shiny additions and changes so that players inevitably flock to the game come release day like a fucking cartoon character floating towards a freshly baked pie. The community is starting to become much more aware of the wool being pulled over our eyes with all this bullshit. With the launch of Black Ops 6, Call of Duty garnered over 148,000 players on Steam. Since then, in just December alone, they've lost over 145,000 of them. I'm sure I don't have to connect the dots for you on that one unless you're watching this video with your eyes closed and your ears plugged. Even several pro players who have literally dedicated their careers to Call of Duty are taking a step back and focusing on other games for the time being. Nadeshot basically just said that he's not motivated to play the game these days because of things like cheating and network issues. Something he also noted too that I'd like to mention is that the worst part of it all is that the game is still fun. The core mechanics show so much potential for the game, and I honestly haven't had this much fun on a COD in a while, but I would be so much more motivated to play it and enjoy it so much more if it were properly supported and worked as intended. They tried to be slick and cut corners and thought we wouldn't notice, but we did. Swag also voiced his distaste for the state of the game in saying that the hacking levels are at an all-time high to the point where you can't even play the game. He said if a game is in a state like this, he can't participate in anything. And as of editing this, I just found out that even Scump admits that Call of Duty is likely in the worst state it's ever been, and he's going to be switching things up a bit more and playing less Black Ops 6. Scump, along with Nadeshot, are two of literally the biggest names in COD history. All this just makes me wonder when the corporate suits are finally going to wake up. Your players are so tired of your antics. You have the most dedicated community of players that has offered so much patience over the years, and you still just treat us like cattle. If I want to get f***ed in the ass, at least I know all I gotta do is play Black Ops 6. I'd like to know what your guys' thoughts are though. I know where I stand with it. I'm not one to really sympathize with corporations. I understand game development is not easy, but the least that we should be afforded as players is transparency and communication. Not a bunch of empty promises, manipulation, and even more in-game purchases to top it all off. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Are you guys still playing Call of Duty? Are you enjoying it? What do you guys think about the state of the game? Do you guys think that this is the worst state that Call of Duty has ever been in? Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you soon.